I'm Josiah, Turner, Sideline Sports Report, joined today by Buffalo Bills quarterback EJ Manuel, who's about a foot taller than me.
On 3rd and 1, Manuel over the middle has his man, first down. That's EJ Johnson, and Johnson out of bounds at the 41-yard line for the first down. Manuel, time to throw, over the middle, wide open, gets his man across the 45 and out the midfield is Robert Wood.
Wants the seal block on the outside, and Larry, who just made a nice catch, now he's blocking. Thompson's out front, he's helping out.
First red zone visit of the day, Manuel going to the end zone, touchdown! Robert Wood! And the first NFL touchdown for both those rookies.
Just to start off, talk about the Buffalo Bills itself, man. You know, you're going into a new season with a new coach, Rex Ryan coming in and all. You know, what type of impact has he had on that organization already that you've noticed out of Rex?
Nah, Rex has done a great job. I think the first thing he's done is just instill confidence within the team, obviously within the organization as far as the people that work in management and things like that. You can tell they're on the same page. As far as the free agents they brought in, the draft that they did. But Rex, from day one, let us all know, like, hey, we all in this together. And he's a player's coach. When I say that, he's just one of those guys you want to go to work for, and he's going to work for you. He's always going to have your back.
Oh, yeah, he always seems loose. Like, he's not afraid to curse you out. He's that type of person. So you really like to have that in the locker room? Yeah,
I love that. I think that's what we needed, especially from the head man, because obviously the team is going to take your attitude as a head coach. And so, we know that Rex really doesn't really care what anybody thinks about us or what people say about us. He could care less. He's open with that. He tells us that. And so, as a quarterback, that's what you want from your head coach.
Yeah, and speaking of you being a quarterback, Rex Ryan is more of a defensive-minded coach.
Right.
So how do you feel about a defensive-minded person coming in, to run the team, even though you're the quarterback and you want to, light it up?
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's a good thing. Obviously the scheme, you can learn a lot from him. As far as what defensive coordinators want to do to attack what you do as an offense. We have a great relationship, and I think that's why I'm very appreciative of how everything, played out, being that, Coach Marone left and Rex got the job in Buffalo. I almost felt like it was a great situation for me.
Yeah, and everything happens for a reason, like they
say.
Yep. So last season, you were benched after, the 4th game of the year. You lost to the Houston Texans, and, ended up losing your job with Kyle Orton taking over. What type of impact does that have on you that makes you better today? That you can say that experience helped me? Yeah,
I think just going through that adversity really grew me up, and obviously being able to still function and get through that, get past all the hearsay, the embarrassment, or, whatever it was, because I was under the impression I got set back because they wanted me to learn from a veteran. But obviously to the outside world, it looks like I got benched because we lost the game.
Yeah.
And so anytime you lose your position after going 2-2, you kind of scratch your head a little bit, but at the same time, I'm glad it happened because I was able to let my knees fully heal. I learned a bunch from a 10-year vet in Kyle Orton. Obviously, I felt like I could have did, the same or if not better, but at the same time, looking back on it, I'm appreciative of the opportunity, and I'm still happy to be in the league. I still made it, so the good thing is, I still have another chance. And it's truly a fresh start, like a new day.
Yeah, and you're going into this season in a competition with another veteran quarterback, Matt Castle.
Right.
And also Tyrod Taylor's there as well. What type of mindset are you going to have going into this competition itself, knowing that it's not going to be a job just handed to you?
Of course, and I think that's probably the best thing for me is that it won't be handed to me, because when I do get the job, it's more if I earned it instead of like, oh, he was given a job, because he was the only quarterback we had, whatever. So, to me, you always want to get that respect from your teammates and, from your coaches that, hey, you earned this, this is the job that you worked for. So I think my main attitude is just focusing on myself, not really worrying about anybody else, and just preparing every day like a starter. And, the funny thing, the competition started from like day one. Even from before we knew the offense. It's just a matter of who asked like certain questions and all that kind of stuff, who can grasp the offense the fastest, I think was the most important thing. And obviously everything will take care of itself once we start doing training camp and preseason games.
Yeah, well, you all have a lot of great additions coming into the team this year. You know, you got LaShawn McCoy that came over from the Eagles. You got Percy Harvin that was signed, who's also from the 757 area. And you also had Charles Clay, you know, which is a slept-on type of pickup for you all as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be a pretty good addition. So how excited are you to know you have all these playmakers around you, all these dynamic guys that can make plays now on offense?
Yeah, I'm extremely excited. You know, from what I've seen in minicamp and you know, off-season workouts and stuff like that, it's really coming together as far as having a complete team, being deep at running back, being deep at receiver, and being deep at tight end, with the addition of Nick O'Leary, who I played with at Florida State. You know, he's a great tight end as well, great receiving tight end. So, you know, obviously the O-line is going to continue to work and get stronger and get better because we have some young guys on the line too. Eric Wood, our center, has kind of been the anchor for that for a long time, but we added Richie Incognito as well. So, you know, you add some guys who have experience, who have some nasty to them. And so, you know, offensive side of the ball, we pick it up, I think we'll be an unstoppable team because our defense is, you know, we have Pro Bowlers over there, you know, more than one. I think we have about four guys who could go to the Pro Bowl in a year. So as long as we do our part, you know, and, you know, I think that's going to help everything.
So you all also going to have probably one of the best receiving, you know, threats in the world with Percy Harvin and Sammy Watkins.
Right.
You know, Sammy Watkins is going into just his second year, but he showed flashes of how good he can be.
Right.
You know, so talk about that, man. You know, you have all these guys that you can just get the ball to, and they can make plays without you having to really do too much. Get the ball to, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you got Robert Woods, Chris Hogan, Marcus Easley, Marcus Stigpen, Marquise Goodwin, who's one of my good friends. So, you know, you got a bunch of guys. That's why I think the cool part about our team is that there's competition at every position. And when you have a healthy competition like that, it brings out the best in everybody. Yeah. So to be honest, it's going to be guys who can start on our team or any team in the league, but they may not make our team because we're so deep at every position, like I said, especially at the wide receiver position. So, you know, I'm excited, you know, and I think obviously Sammy's he's coming off an injury right now. He has surgery in the off season. So once we get him back, you know, we're going to be even, you know, fully loaded, ready to go. Yeah,
I think so too. You know, also speaking of Percy again, he's from this area. You have Tyrod Taylor from this area. How is it going to be to, you know, you have so many guys on one team that's basically, you know, from a family atmosphere with the 757?
Yeah, it's great. The funny thing is I've known both of those guys for a long time. I've known Percy since I was like maybe like 7 or 8 from running track. And then Tyrod, met him, he lived over in Hampton, so I met him probably when I was like 9 or 10 playing basketball. And then obviously as we got older, played each other in football and whatnot. So even though he and I are competing for the same job, it's still love. You know what I mean? It's still like we're both trying to, you know, help each other get better, learn the system. And obviously, like I said, we're still competing for the same job. But being that we're both from the 757 goes a long way. And you can feel that when you first see each other.
How does that competition affect the relationship with the player, though? You know, is it looked at like, I don't really like Matt Castle and Tyrod Taylor right now while I'm competing for this job?
Yeah, I think you got to understand as a professional, though, like you don't have to look at it as I like this guy, I dislike this guy. If a person is a good person, that's all that matters. You know, it's a character thing. It's more important, like, okay, I like this guy as a man, even though we're competing for the same job. That's how I look at it. You know, some people I'm sure like look at it like, oh, I don't want to like him, whatever. We're trying to get the same job, but, you know, if you're a good person, I mean, football is like, it's important, but it's not life. You know what I mean? You're still a good guy, so I'm going to still have respect for you and still be a friend of yours. But like I said, it's still a healthy competition, you know, so it just, in my opinion, it brings out the best out of all of us. You know, I think we all could go out to dinner and have a good time, but at the same time, when we go out there on the field, we're trying to do our best every time, trying to outshine the other guy.
Got you. You know, so obviously the Patriots have been pretty dominant in the AFC East, to say the least. You know, they won a division 11 of the last 12 years, and the one year they didn't win it is because Tom Brady went down with a season-ending injury. So, you know, how do you all think that you can replace them this year, or at least compete for that top spot in the AFC East, which, you know, they've pretty much had a stranglehold on? Yeah,
well, the Patriots are who they are. You know, Tom Brady is who he is, and he's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. So you have to give those guys their respect. But at the same time, you know, I feel like if we beat that team, if we beat the Dolphins, obviously we beat the Jets, we always have a great opportunity to win our division. And that's truly the only way to get to the playoffs is by winning your division. It's hard to make that wild card and, you know, actually have a run at the Super Bowl. It's been done plenty of times, but, you know, you obviously want to go out and win your division, but it starts by beating teams like the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the Jets.
Another thing that a lot of people don't realize, the fact that Jameis Winston, you know, kind of was an understudy with you at Florida State. You know, I believe it was his red shirt year as well, right? So what do you know about Jameis Winston as a person and his personality? I mean, he was the first pick of the draft that can transition well to the NFL.
I think Jameis just has the character of a person who could care less about what people think about him. And when you have that type of mindset and attitude, I think it helps because, you know, as a quarterback in the NFL, somebody's always going to have something to say about you, whether it's good or bad. And you have to learn fast to let that stuff roll off your shoulder. And, you know, I think Jay he's always carried himself with that confidence that it don't really matter what you think about me. You know, he's a respectful kid, he's a great kid. He's like a brother to me. But at the same time, he's an extreme competitor. And that's what I always liked about him. And I think that's what's going to definitely carry him early in his career in Tampa Bay. And I think he'll be able to help turn that team around.
So you do think he was placed in a pretty good situation in Tampa Bay? They do have those huge receivers, you know,
right.
Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson. Think that was a pretty good situation for him?
Oh, I think it's a great spot for him, especially with Coach Smith, Lovie Smith. And then there's a bunch of Florida State following right there in the Tampa area. It's 3.5 hours from where we went to school. So, you know, I think it was a great opportunity for him.
All right. You know, one other thing I want to ask you about as far as the Bills, as far as the ceiling for you all this season, what do you think is the one thing that you would like to end this season with, even if it's not winning the Super Bowl, that you can say we did well this year?
I would say make the playoffs. I think we have the team to do it. I think we have the pieces and, you know, the people in place to make a run at the Super Bowl. But obviously that starts with having a good season first and then, you know, trying to win your division and then obviously getting into the dance, and that's the Super Bowl. So, I mean, and that's the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so, because I think once you get in the playoffs, it's a whole new season. You know what I mean? Everybody's back at 0-0 as far as their record, win or loss. So, you just got to win the next game. And I think if we get the opportunity, which I think we will, we're working hard toward it. You know, that's when you can kind of dictate your own destiny there.